Howdy y'all, I'm George from Houston, Texas, and today is video 2 for the full mix series in Studio One 6.5. On the first video, I brought in the tracks, I organized them, color-coded them, did a little bit of gain staging, and set them up in a way where I could start trying to mix. I experienced a couple of issues while I was trying to get things set up, but I have sorted out those things, and this is going to be a very raw mix series because I'm not editing a lot of stuff out, so I'm going to leave it as it is. So one thing that I wanted to show you if you watched video number 1 was that when I imported the tracks were playing at a different speed. The reason for this was with the help of a couple of folks. If you click on this waveform here, or any event for that matter, and then you go down here and look at the file tempo, you can see that the tempo was written into this waveform. And then my tempo for the full session was at 120 and the track was at 80. So it was out of sync when I was playing it. And then the tempo algorithm was set to stretch. Another thing that I had to change was in the song setup, the stretch audio files to tempo was checked, the little box. So I unchecked that and that fixed everything. So hopefully that helps. Okay, today I'm going to focus on the drums. The first thing I did, I focused on the vocal a little bit, gain staged a little bit, did a little bit of EQ, and then I worked on the kick and the snare. And this is what that ended up sounding like. So here's the kick, snare. Looks like this is a bottom snare. Okay, so one of the challenges for this session is it looks like they may have recorded real drums originally, but then they were supplemented with like Superior Drummer or something, or they were played on a MIDI kit. I don't know. It doesn't matter to me. This is what was given to me. So I'm just going to do my best to try to make them sound as cohesive as possible. So when you have samples that are extremely clean like this, it's hard to glue them together. So the other thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to listen to the, looks like there's an overhead track and a drum room track. There's also something called DRFX, and after I checked it out, it looks like it's the room mic, but only the toms and the kick and the floor tom is coming out. So that's what leads me to believe that it was done in something like Superior Drummer or something like that. All right, let's listen to those. So I'm going to listen to this one here. Okay, now I'm gonna audition this one. Okay, that looks like overheads, and then this one. Okay, so that's another room mic. So let's work with those, try to blend them together so that we could try to get a cohesive glue sounding drum sound. All right, let's go. Ooh, yeah. Okay, that's the floor tom. Let's start with the overheads. All right, that's what I wanted to hear, the overheads. Okay, so what I've done here on this overhead, I've gotten rid of the low end. So I want to hear the cymbals as much as possible. So here we go, here we go. All right, without the plugin. Okay, so what did I do? The first thing that I did is I activated the filters here, and I high passed it all the way to 500 hertz and the low pass to 14.5, so I could just hear some of that brighter stuff. And this is what it sounds like. Let me turn everything else off with the filter on. Okay, so I'm just trying to get the brightness of the cymbals. The other thing that I want to do, I wanted to make sure I had my gain staging right. Right now I'm hovering about 24, minus 24 dBFS RMS. So I'm probably gonna get that a little bit hotter. And because these are percussive elements, you don't have to get it exact, but you can see my meter here hovering near 0 and my RMS level here also hovering around minus 18. So remember, 0 VU equals minus 18 dBFS. All right, let's engage the EQ. So I've got 2 dBs at 8.5. And that's a shelf, but we can turn that into a bell. Let's see what that sounds like. So what's happening there by using the bell curve, it's accentuating the snare. So I don't want that to happen. Let me fix my mic, sorry. It's kind of in the way, there we go. So I took off the bell curve. All right, so next thing, let's see, I took out minus 3 dBs at almost 3K with a wider curve, wider Q. Let's hear that. And the low frequency or the low shelf, I brought it down completely at 105. All right, so that's just the cymbals. Let's look at the dynamics. All right, so I'm still getting a lot of the snare and a little bit of the kick, but the snare is more of a snap, so that's probably gonna help the snare sound a little bit. Not doing anything on the gate section. And the way this EQ is set up, or this channel strip is set up, is filters first, then EQ, then compression and gate and stuff like that. All right, one more time. So my output level is hovering at minus 24 dBFS, which is okay for the hi-hats. Sorry, for the cymbals. Let's go on to the next track, or actually let's listen in context now. All right, let's work on the low end instruments here. I'm just gonna bring up the fader. Let's see what that sounds like. Okay, so for gain staging, you see that the needle is hovering right at 0. Same thing, the RMS level for this channel strip for the input is near -18, and the output is very similar. So let's start with the filters first. Okay, so that's the filters. I did a high pass at 50 Hertz and a low pass at 24K. That's where I started to hear the difference. And if you don't believe me, here, I'll do it. Now, one thing, every EQ is different. I don't know that this is exactly 23K and this is exactly 50 Hertz. I'm just using my ears at this point. I don't want to get too technical with this stuff, but I'm going to do an A/B real quick, on and off. All right, judge for yourself. Let's get into the EQ now. And notice the needle still hovering around 0. That's very important. It's probably good if you turn on the EQ. So it's a nice little snap for the kick. All right, let's check out the low mids. Okay, let me do a quick review. We've got 8 dBs at 2.8 with a medium Q, -8 at 230, and with the medium Q, and -1 dB at 230. Let me A/B that real quick. So I cleaned it up a little bit. Notice my level went down. I'm looking at the needle here with it on and with it off. So we got rid of that boom, 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 boom. I don't know if you could hear that or not, but let me look at the output level on my strip meter here. So we have a lot of headroom here, honestly, and the mix still going to be loud. And this is really important, you know, when trying to get your mixes loud. You just got to keep your eyes on that level the entire time. Yes, you can do certain moves that sound good, and then you can lower the buses and stuff like that. So there's a few tricks that you can do. But let's go to a little bit of compression. We may not need it. So let me turn on the, let me bring this on this side now. Let me turn on the compression. I think that sounds good. You've got about 6 dBs of gain reduction. With it, let me do an A/B. Okay, when I engage the compressor, notice that the kick gets a little bit of depth. It sounds more 3D. It sounds less in your face, and it sounds more professional. When I remove it, you'll hear that, you know, it's like a room recording that doesn't sound very professional. Check it out. Okay, we don't need to do anything on the gate section. So let me A/B the entire track with the turning off the plugin and on. Here we go. Okay, the one thing that you notice that what I did, the changes that I made did bring the level down of the track, so it's not a proper comparison. So I'm going to try to level match it with the plugin. Okay, that sounds good. I'm gonna listen to it in context now, and I'm gonna keep an ear on the top end because the snare is popping too much at the moment, and the snare is very bright. So let's hear it in context now. If that's hard to hear, let me just solo all of the drums. Okay, so I just brought up the fader up to where I'm at minus 13 decibels. And that sounding good is right at the threshold where you begin to hear it. So you don't really need to use all of the level that you have. Now, when I'm moving the fader, I'm actually attenuating or raising or lowering the volume. It's not affecting the gain. It will only affect the gain going into the bus, which that's my next step. Here we go again. I'm gonna bring it down to 0 where you can hear it, and then I'll blend it in. All right, so it is a little boomy, but we'll get there. Let's play with this one here, the overhead. The overhead's not doing much because remember, we got rid of a lot of the low end. So let's hear it where the cymbals are actually playing. I'll bring it down again. Now I'm gonna try to hear just the vocal and with the drums. So I'm gonna go to the lead vocal here.
Receive glory, honor, and praise. Oh, hey. Now on to the one upon the throne.
Okay, that's a pretty good balance. And look at my my master meter, it's you know, I have this one set up at -12. So that means that, you know, I want my RMS hovering around -12 dBFS for my final mix.
Receive glory, honor.
And I have a lot of headroom, but my mix is already super loud because I've already gain staged my tracks.
Receive glory, honor, and praise.
All right, I'm gonna get rid of that solo. And I'm gonna add a bus channel now to the drums. I haven't worked on the toms yet. I'm not overly concerned. And actually, before I do that, let me work on this last room track. All right, let's see what happens here. Let's bring in this plugin. And I'm gonna put it right here. And let's see what it sounds like, what levels we're getting without the plugin.
Receive glory, honor.
So we're hovering about 0. All right, and let's bring this up to 0 here. Let's engage the plugin. Okay, so what I'm gonna use this room microphone for is to use it as a sort of parallel compression. So I'm gonna really crush this one, and let me check what we're doing with the filters. I'm gonna turn everything off. Okay, I like it there. Not too much boominess, and not too much low end mud or rumble. Let's hear it without the plugin. Notice that I lost a little bit of level because I'm keeping an eye on my VU meter and also on this output meter. So I'm gonna mess with the EQ now. All right, let's talk about the EQ. I did -3 dBs at around 8K, -3 dBs at around 4K, -5 dBs at around 500. And then I took this bell curve, -9 dBs at around 100. So let's A/B that, and let's keep an eye on the level without the plugin first, and then I'll engage the plugin. Notice that by taking out some of these frequencies, the levels came down. So I'm going to level compensate so you can get an accurate listen. Now with the level matched, you could see that there's a few areas that I have to continue to work in. Let me work on the compression, see what that does to the sound. that's actually increasing the gain, so we have to clamp down on it. I want to crush this one, so I'm going to hit it pretty hard now. Okay, so that's getting, it's almost like a limiter now. I have the release. I'm going to play with the release now, see what that does for the tone shaping. So notice that the cymbals are just really loud now, so I'm trying to tame those a little bit. Okay, that brought that level down a little bit. I'm gonna crush it some more. Okay, now I'm gonna do an A-B. So you are getting a little bit of pumping, but we're not going to use it all. We're just going to blend it in with the rest, so you shouldn't be able to tell that much. Let me close this plugin and let's listen to it with the rest of the drums engaged. I'm going to bring it down first, and then I'll bring it up as we go. Here we go. I'm going to blend it to taste now. Okay, so it's got a lot of depth at the moment. I don't know that it will sound good with the mix, but let's hear it. Let's hear it with the vocal now engaged. So let's solo the vocal as well.
Receive glory, honor, and praise. Oh, hey. Now unto the one upon the throne, we raise a sound. Hey. We raise a sound.
So I'm happy with that because there's a good balance. Right now the mix is super loud, and it's going to be even louder as I get to the end. Look at the master meter.
Receive glory, honor, and praise.
So if I had it at 18,
receive glory, honor, and praise.
This is a great level. We're hovering right around 18. So that's in RMS.
Receive glory, honor, and
I'm going to add a bus to these tracks so I can start doing some bus processing. And I'm just getting a quick rough mix, and then we're going to go back through it and adjust it as we go. So I'm going to right click here, add bus channel, and I'm going to add another bus to this one, and I'll explain that process later. I'm going to call this one DR bus and this one D stem. This one is going to the D stem. Everything else here is going to the DR bus, which I did it the wrong way, but whatever. And let me throw a plugin here, a VU meter, and let me do the same here and the same here. Now I'm gonna turn off these plugins. These plugins just link up my UF8 controller with my Studio One, so all the tracks are following. But let's see what levels we have at the bus level.
Receive glory, honor, and praise. Oh, hey. Now unto the one upon the throne, we raise the sound. Hey.
Okay, my drums are really loud, and I'm not even hovering at minus 18 dBFS or 0VU.
Receive glory, honor, and
This tells me that I have tons of headroom left.
receive glory, honor, and
So if I wanted to, these could come up a little bit more, but I don't want to do that right now. I just want to save my headroom for a little later. So I'm going to stop here, and next time I'm going to focus on the bass and start bringing some of the other elements of the mix in. The limiter is not doing much at the moment.
receive glory, honor, and praise. Oh,
Notice my loves are barely at 20
receive glory, honor, and praise.
and my RMS at 18. So I have a nice healthy level going on at the moment. And let me know if you have any questions. Hope you're having a great week.